Welcome back to Aliyah and Chill. I'm your host, and today we're diving into the most intimate part of your Jewish agency interview, the health questionnaire. Fair warning, this episode contains themes of medical oversharing, bureaucratic hypochondria, and the phrase, "Have you ever had any unusual discharge?" asked with the emotional warmth of a parking meter. So there I was, halfway through my Jewish agency interview, feeling pretty confident. I'd nailed the "Why do you want to make Aliyah?" question, demonstrated adequate Jewish knowledge, and even managed to pronounce Hatikva without sounding like I was choking on matzo. Then Miriam, my interviewer, pulled out the health form. "Now," she said with the clinical detachment of a tax auditor, "we need to discuss your medical history." Medical history? I thought we were talking about my spiritual journey to the homeland. Suddenly, I was being interrogated about my colon like I was applying to donate organs. "Do you have any chronic medical conditions?" she asked, pen poised. "Well, I sometimes get headaches when—" "Migraines?" "No, just regular headaches from—" "Frequency? Maybe once a month?" "Triggers?" "Usually stress, or when my mother calls to ask when I'm giving her grandchildren." She wrote something down. I panicked. Was Jewish maternal guilt now a disqualifying medical condition? "Any mental health concerns?" she continued. "Mental health concerns? I mean, who doesn't have mental health concerns? I live in 2024. I have anxiety about climate change, social media addiction, and whether avocado toast is actually destroying the housing market." "Define concerns?" I asked carefully. "Depression, anxiety, therapy, medications." Oh boy, here we go. Do I mention my college therapy sessions about my fear of commitment? What about that time I took anti-anxiety medication before flying? Does my subscription to meditation apps count as self-medication? "I've done some therapy," I admitted. "For what?" "General life stuff. You know, career anxiety, relationship issues, the usual existential dread of modern existence." She stared at me like I'd confessed to being part of an international conspiracy. "Are you currently on any medications?" This is where it got really personal. I had to admit to taking allergy medication, which somehow led to a 20-minute discussion about seasonal allergies, which led to questions about asthma, which led to her asking about my lung capacity and exercise tolerance. "Can you walk up 2 flights of stairs without getting winded?" "Yes." 3 flights? Probably. "What about with luggage?" Was this an immigration interview or a fitness assessment? Was Israel planning to make me climb Mount Masada with my suitcases as part of the citizenship test? Then came the really fun questions. Any history of contagious diseases? Like what? Tuberculosis, hepatitis, sexually transmitted infections. Whoa! We went from discussing my Jewish identity to my sexual health faster than a Tinder conversation gone wrong. I'm sitting there thinking, "Lady, I just want to make Aliyah, not join a commune. Do I need to provide documentation for those things? If applicable." If applicable? How do you prove a negative? Do I need a letter from my doctor saying, "This person has never had syphilis," signed and notarized? The vaccination questions were particularly entertaining. Are you up to date with all vaccinations? I think so. Think so isn't good enough. Do you have your vaccination records? Vaccination records. From childhood. Lady, I can barely remember what I had for breakfast. And you want documentation from 1985? My mother might have kept my baby book, but I doubt it includes a comprehensive immunization log. I'll need to check with my pediatrician. Your current pediatrician? No, my pediatrician from 30 years ago, if he's still alive, and if his office hasn't been demolished, and if they kept records from the Reagan administration. Then she hit me with the disability questions. Do you have any disabilities that might affect your integration? Integration? What kind of integration requires a medical clearance? Are we talking about social integration? Or is there some kind of physical obstacle course I need to complete? Will I be required to demonstrate my ability to argue about politics while eating hummus? What exactly do you mean by integration? Can you work, study, participate in society? Well, yes, I've been doing those things for 30 years in America. But can you do them in Hebrew? Now we're talking about linguistic disabilities. Is my inability to roll my R's properly going to disqualify me from citizenship? The pregnancy question was particularly special. Are you pregnant? No. Are you planning to become pregnant in the next year? Planning? Planning? I don't even plan what I'm having for lunch next Tuesday. And you want a comprehensive reproductive roadmap? I mean, not specifically planning, but I'm not opposed to the possibility if circumstances align. Yes or no? That's really more of a philosophical question than a medical one. My favorite was the mental health deep dive. Have you ever been hospitalized for psychiatric reasons? No. Ever considered suicide? Well, existentially, haven't we all contemplated the meaninglessness of existence at some point? Yes or no, philosophically speaking? Yes or no? No. No. Definitely no. I love life. Life is great. Israel is great. Aliyah is the best decision I've ever made. I was basically having a breakdown while trying to prove I was mentally stable. The whole experience was like speed dating with a medical examiner. Within 30 minutes, this stranger knew more about my body than most of my actual friends. She knew about my lactose intolerance, my seasonal allergies, my college therapy sessions, and my complete vaccination history dating back to the Carter administration. But here's the beautiful irony. After all this medical interrogation, she stamped my file approved and welcomed me to make Aliyah. Apparently, my anxiety about the health questions wasn't actually disqualifying anxiety. That's all for today's episode of Aliyah and Chill. Remember, the Jewish Agency health questions aren't trying to disqualify you. They just want to make sure you're healthy enough to handle Israeli bureaucracy, which, let's be honest, requires the constitution of an Olympic athlete. And hey, if discussing your medical history with strangers sounds more intimate than you're comfortable with, maybe it's time to call Easy Aliyah's VIP concierge service. We'll prepare you for every awkward health question they might ask. Until next time, keep taking your vitamins. And remember, if you can survive the health interrogation, you can definitely survive Israeli healthcare.